Step 4 is to define a business model. This is a step we skipped from 1998 to 2001. A business model is very different today. These are the qualities of a business model. First of all, it is specific. It is a specific person buying your product or service. It's not anymore about hand-waving, about saying, well, we'll capture millions of eyeballs, and somehow we'll figure out how to monetize those eyeballs. But right now, we're just concerned with capturing millions of eyeballs. It's who is buying the product, specifically who. Not enterprise software, but what size enterprise? What vertical market is that enterprise in? Who in that enterprise is actually doing the purchasing? It's very specific today. Second point of a business model is you need to keep it very simple. As a venture capitalist, when we have people come in and say we have a unique business model, unique is a bad word. When we have a unique business model that no one has done before, in fact, our business model is so unique, we are filing a patent on the business model. That is an absolutely frightening thing to hear. You know, we want innovative technology. We want innovative services. We want innovative products. We do not want innovative business models. Fundamentally, you make something, you sell it, you collect the money. That's the kind of business model a VC can handle. Okay? The third point is to ask women. This is a trickier recommendation. I believe, though I have no biochemical basis to make this assertion, that women are genetically superior to men in many ways, but in particular when it comes to business models. Because men have a genetic defect. They have a genetic defect called the killer gene. This killer gene makes men want to kill plants, kill animals, kill people. And to a large degree, the gene has been suppressed by society. However, one place where this killer gene continues to express itself is the desire to create a company to kill another company. So people want to start a company to kill Microsoft, or kill Oracle, or kill PeopleSoft. And so what happens is, when you ask a man, do you think it's a good idea for me to drop out of the comp sci degree program at Stanford and I'm going to create this new piece of enterprise software and I'm going to kill Microsoft? Most men will say yes, because men are predisposed to wanting to kill things. Women, by contrast, don't have this genetic flaw. So this recommendation is, when you come up with a new idea, when you come up with an idea for a company, ask women about the product, the service, the business model. Don't waste your time asking men. The fifth point is to weave a mat, which stands for milestones, assumptions, and tasks. I'll use an ice hockey analogy, although none of you clearly play ice hockey. Hopefully some of you have ice skated. So, you know, when you ice skate or you play ice hockey, there's this thing called a Zamboni, and this machine comes out and it shaves the ice and it lays down a sheet of water. So the ice rink, the ice surface is just beautiful. It's flat, it's smooth, there's no ruts in it. It's just a wonderful thing. It's just pure, wonderful, white, virgin ice out there. Okay? To a large degree, a startup is like that. You know, when you start up a company, you don't have the crappy furniture, you don't have the employees that you found out were bozos after you hired, you don't have an installed base that's nagging you for bug fixes, you don't have the ugly logos that you designed one night, your stationery doesn't suck yet, you know, you don't have a crappy office in the wrong location. It's just pure virgin startup. So what happens in this situation is there's so many fun things to do, like working on a logo and working on your stationery and buying furniture and looking at commercial real estate, that your priorities get all whacked out. So this is about prioritization. The first priority is to create milestones for your company. Milestones are things like finish the design, finish the prototype, first customer ship. A milestone is something that you would go home and tell your spouse, honey, we shipped today. A milestone is not, honey, we ordered furniture today. That's not a milestone. A milestone is something that increases the valuation of your company. Shipping increases the valuation of your company. Filing for a patent trademark does not increase the valuation of your company. Create the milestones, top priority. The second thing, the A, is you need to write down your assumptions. The assumptions create the business model. How many sales calls can a salesperson make? What percentage will be successful? How many calls will a customer call tech support? How much will it cost to provide tech support to the average customer? These things need to be written down, and then they need to be tested. Because if you create a business model that assumes that you're going to get 1% of the people in China to be your customer, and you can make 80% successful sales calls, you're going to have a flawed model. You need to test those assumptions. And finally, the T is task. The task is stuff like rent an office. But a task is always used to either test an assumption or to complete a milestone. You rent an office when you need to finish your software because you need a place for the programmers. You don't rent an office because it's a wonderful, fun thing to do, going around looking at commercial real estate. So the order is milestone, assumption, and task, a MAT. The sixth thing is to niche thyself. This is all the marketing you ever need to know. It's also probably all the R&D and product design you ever need to know. I think that this chart can explain basically all of marketing and product design. On the vertical axis is the ability to produce a unique product or service. On the horizontal axis is the value of that service or product to the customer. As you might suspect, this is going to be a 2x2. And as you might suspect, you're going to want to be high and to the right. But let's go through the other corners first. The first corner is where you provide something of great value to the customer, but there are 10 other competitors doing it. At that point, you have to compete on price because it is not a unique product or service. It's an ugly place to be. Another corner is where you provide something and only you provide it, but nobody wants it. That's where you're stupid. In lower and to the left is the absolute worst corner. That's where you provide something that nobody cares about, and there are 10 ways to get it, and that's over here. That means you're a .com company. The prototypical example of a .com company was the ability to buy dog food online. That's why there's a dog food picture. You know, at the height of the .com phenomenon, you could buy a case of dog food online for 10% than what you would pay for by driving to a brick and mortar store, a PetMart or a Petco, right? You could save 10%. However, dog food is so heavy that you would pay $10 in shipping, which would be more than compensate for the 10% discount. So in effect, the dog food was of no value to the customer buying it online. However, there were 6 ways you could do it. There was pets.com, mypets.com, epets.com, ipets.com, lastminutepets.com, discountpets.com. There's 16 ways to buy dog food for more than you would pay in a store. That explains the .com phenomenon. So the holy grail of positioning in product design and marketing is to figure out how the hell you get into that corner where you are the single white tulip in a field of crappy other tulips. How do you do that? What is so unique about your product or service? It can be features, it can be price, it can be geographic location, it can be service levels. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, how is it unique? And by the way, that unique element better be valuable to the customer. An example of a company that I think is very high and to the right is Fandango. So Fandango allows you to buy a movie ticket before you go to the movie. So you really know you have a ticket, and you can just zip through the line because they scan your printed out ticket, right? That's great value to the customer. And you can only buy it through Fandango. That company is high and to the right. So the basic proposition here is for you to be high and to the right. You can think of it as being like our president, high and to the right. Okay? The next thing is the art of pitching. Pitching is usually used to raise money. But pitching, more generically, is about the process of seeking agreement. You can seek agreement for money. You can seek agreement to recruit. You can seek agreement for partnership. You can seek agreement for sales. Pitching. You know the Latin saying of I think, therefore I am? For an entrepreneur, it is I pitch, therefore I am. An entrepreneur is always pitching. There is what I call the 10-20-30 rule. The 10 part of the 10-20-30 rule is that the optimal number of slides for a PowerPoint pitch is 10. Maybe it's 15, but it's not the 50 that you think it is. If you can cover these 10 subjects very well, the next step will be due diligence. Many people think that if you put 50 slides together, the audience will be overcome with shock and awe, and all they can ask is, how do I wire you the money? I have never, ever seen that happen, all right? The purpose of a pitch is to get to the next stage of due diligence. The purpose of a pitch is not to try to close the venture capital firm, the partner, the customer in that meeting. The second point is the 20. I think you should be able to use these 10 slides in 20 minutes. You may have a 60-minute meeting, but I guarantee you it'll start late. The partners from the firm will come in late. You're using a Windows laptop. You can't make it work with the projector. Something will go wrong. Something will go wrong. And the third point is 30-point font. The smallest font you should use on a slide is 30 points. This single recommendation will prevent you from getting in trouble with most slides. Lots of people like to use 8, 10, or 12-point font. They like to write out the entire paragraph, and then they read the paragraph. People can read faster than you can talk. So if you put all of the text that you want to say up on the slide, they will read it if they can see it, and they will be done before you've explained it. The ideal size font is 30. If you think this is too dogmatic, let me give you an algorithm.